Robert Duvall to stop an earthbound comet before deep impact.
Parker Posey and Lisa Kudrow are office temps with an attitude in Clockwatchers.
And Jada Pinkett Smith shows Tommy Davidson a night he'll never forget in Woo.
A catastrophic comet is headed straight for Earth in deep impact. One of 6 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Deep Impact opens with some bad news. A comet the size of Mount Everest is headed straight for the Earth, and its impact threatens to exterminate all life on the planet. For the movie viewer, this poses a real dilemma. If it does hit, it's the end of humanity. But if it doesn't, we don't get to see all those neat special effects. While we're wondering if the movie will find a way to have its cake and eat it too, a reporter played by Téa Leoni stumbles on top-secret communications about the comet. So top secret, she misinterprets them, thinking she's uncovered a White House sex scandal. She has a confidential meeting with United States President Morgan Freeman.
Mr. President, I'm not interested in using Ellie to further my career.
What do you know about Ellie?
I know you should have picked a better cover story than a sick wife.
See? What'd I tell you?
A few days later, Freeman breaks the news to the nation. Movie speeches like this are usually pretty silly, but I thought this one was well written and delivered.
If this comet continues on its path around the sun and keeps its present course, sometime on August 16th, roughly a year from now, there's a chance that we might have impact. So for the past 8 months, the United States and Russia have been building the largest spaceship ever constructed. It's being built in orbit around the Earth, and we call it the Messiah.
Once the Messiah spacecraft arrives at the deadly comet, veteran pilot Robert Duvall takes over the controls. He's got the experience. He landed on the moon.
Get the hell out of there!
Meanwhile, the nation puts a desperate quota plan into effect, trying to decide who will survive in vast underground caves and who may not.
The evacuation of those who have been selected for the Ark will take no longer than 2 days, beginning on August 12th. During this 2-day period, no unofficial travel will be permitted. Those selected will be taken by bus and train to the underground Ark site by military personnel.
I kind of wish they'd spent more time explaining how they chose the lucky million lottery winners. At one point, Elijah Wood, the teenager who co-discovered the comet, is able to save his teenage girlfriend just by marrying her. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, before some kid saves his girlfriend, don't they need a movie critic down there in that cave? Deep Impact has some moments of wit in its dialogue, and good performances by Freeman and Duvall, and some entertaining special effects, but it's a very standard disaster picture following the ancient formula in which the story intercuts between a few stereotyped characters. The idea of the nation rising to an emergency like this is so intriguing that I was hoping for something better. A marginal thumbs down for me.
And a marginal thumbs up for me, because I did think the writing at times rescued the standard plot, as you point out. And that was it. I just felt that there are speeches there, and it's also who's delivering them. When you have Morgan Freeman, Robert Duvall in the cast, they make the standard stuff work.
Oh, he's good. But, you know, Bruce Joel Rubin and Michael Tolkien, who co-wrote the screenplay, Tolkien is the guy who wrote The Rapture, which is about a different kind of end of the world. And it seemed to me if they had just let those guys loose instead of trying to compress it into your standard disaster formula, we could have really had a good movie here instead of just a special effects picture.
I think there's a little bit more than just special effects in the film. It's not as good as I would like it to be. We're not that far apart. Okay, next movie. And our next film is called Woo, which is the name of the film's feisty, attractive young heroine, played by Jada Pinkett Smith, in a cute girl in a big city movie. Here, Woo has gone on a blind date with a character played by Tommy Davidson, but the date is interrupted by some of his boorish buddies. No cutting-edge comedy here, for sure.
Well, fellas, thanks for coming by. I I'll catch up to y'all later. You know how it is, man.
Aren't you going to invite your friends in?
I am. Yeah.
She's a popular young lady. Even the cops know her, which comes in handy.
You know this guy?
Oh, well, kind of. It's our first date, you know, but he's okay.
Well, if you say he's cool.
Thank you.
I'm not catching a bus to the party in my gear, okay?
You her over, and it's your ass. I got 2 words for you, man. Johnny Cochran.
There isn't much holding this film together. It just moves along chunk style, joke, tender moment, joke, tender moment.
What are you doing?
This time, I'm not gonna miss the moment. Come on, girl.
Well, I suppose this film works simply on the basis of how much you care about Wu and whether she's happy. I had a mixed reaction to all of that. Not quite enough to recommend this movie.
I can't recommend it either. I think this is a movie that basically wants to deal with that dividing line between, in black culture, between the buppies, the black urban professionals who have moved on, like Tommy Davidson in this movie, who was a law clerk, and people who continue to have more of the street style of life. And actually, of course, Wu can go both ways, but she's concealing that from the other guy, and as a result you get this tension between 2 black lifestyles that's supposed to cause some jokes, but I think in many cases they're not that funny, and the rest of it is just disconnected slapstick.
That's it. It's just not that funny. Any of these ideas could be transformed by some wit. There is no wit in Wu.
I'll tell you the movie that Tommy Davidson was in that did this and did it better, and that was Booty Call.
We both like that.
Yeah, we like Booty Call. Yeah. Later in this show, Mariel Hemingway stars in Louisa May Alcott's Little Men.
Prepare to walk.
And coming up next, Parker Posey and Toni Collette in Clockwatchers about the revenge of the temp workers.
You think I'm your little office thief. Oh, you got me. You finally got me.
There's a phone call from Mr. Wheeler. Well, I'll just leave him on hold. I'll just get tired and hang up. That's lesson number 1. People that sit in those little glass rooms don't answer the phone before 10.
Toni Collette is the new temp worker in a big, unfriendly office, and Parker Posey plays the veteran temp who welcomes her aboard and shows her the ropes in that scene. They star in Clockwatchers, a movie that could almost be called In the Company of Women. It's a sharp-edged black comedy about women office workers who are hired by the hour, treated like dirt, and encouraged to fight among themselves for status and advancement. In the cafeteria, the new girl meets 2 other temps, played by Lisa Kudrow and Alana Eubank. Listen to the dialogue here, the aimless, resentful drift of people trapped in jobs that have absolutely no meaning for them.
You know, I got sent to a bank once, and it was a nightmare. I set the alarm off, and the cops came.
Ooh, I love the police, huh? How'd you do it?
There was this button on the desk, and I kept looking at it every day for a month, and finally, I pushed it.
Really? Why?
Well, how was I supposed to know? I mean, you know how it goes. They never really explain anything to you when you're a temp. They figure you're not going to be around long enough.
These are adult women reduced to policing each other about office supplies as if they were still in the 3rd grade.
Paula, do you have a pen? Mine just ran out.
Cut it out, will you? Someone might see us talking.
Credit. Could you hand me a pen, please? You know what? I'm all out. Mine keep disappearing. I can't even find my Jack Shelford. Here, you can take mine. It's not very sharp, but you can have it. No, that's all right, Irish. You need it. Just take a look at the desk in front of you, please, Paula. I am not about to go picking through somebody else's desk. No one is sitting there.
In an office like this, everyone holds on to whatever pathetic shreds of authority and power come into their hands.
Oh, come on. 5 or 6. I'm on a big project.
And then there's an office mystery. Somebody in the office is a thief, and things keep disappearing off of people's desks and out of their drawers. Is it the new girl, played by Toni Collette, or the rebellious character played by Parker Posey? One thing about the crime wave, at least it gives them something to think about. Clockwatchers is written by sisters Jill and Karen Sprecher and directed by Jill Sprecher, and they have a perfect eye and ear for the boredom and pettiness of office life. It's funny and truthful, and the acting is right on target, and it's one of the new American movies about life and work as it is actually experienced.
And this is something that is really welcome to us because we have complained so often that work is avoided in American movies, as it is experienced, as you said. And here's a case, I'm sure what happened, which was one of these 2 women, the Sprecher sisters, did some temp work.
Must have.
And said, you know what, there's a story here. And there is a story. A lot of people do temp work. And it's like substitute teaching. It's a recipe for disaster.
Oh, you know, watching this movie, I just thought of Dilbert all the way through, with the muzak that's really so annoying, and the little office cubicles, and everybody fighting for every square inch of space, and their little bulletin boards to let them know this is their desk, and otherwise they get lost in that giant space. It's really a very evocative movie.
It's a good film, well written, smart. Coming up next, the flip side of the classic Little Woman story. Here's Louisa May Alcott's, not as well known, Little Men.
Stop them! Come on!
Keep your fists up. Don't want a scrapper get in your face with a whack like that. Hey, come on. Hey, go, go. Keep moving. Guard your gut, your head.
Those are the title characters in Louisa May Alcott's Little Men, her companion piece to her classic Little Women novels, and there's a reason why Little Men is not as well known as Little Women. The young men aren't as indelibly written. It's Boston again, 1871, and street urchin Ben Cook has just picked a man's pocket. But it's his more innocent friend, Nat, played by Michael Callows, who loses his violin and his freedom and is sent to boarding school.
No one's gonna hurt you. Sergeant, may I ask what you'll be doing with the boy?
We'll book him and leave him at the Wayward House with the rest of the street urchins.
Well, perhaps I have an alternative. My sister-in-law has a school. It's a happy, home-like place for boys who need teaching and care and a little bit of kindness.
Eventually, Dan, the thief, ends up at the school, too. Mariel Hemingway plays the headmistress, who administers both tough and tender love.
Why didn't you come inside?
Didn't suppose you'd let me.
Just try and see.
Her husband, the headmaster, is played by Chris Sarandon. Little Women is a treasure chest of young girls' dreams about their future. By comparison, this Little Men is a compendium of physical hijinks. And there's a pillow fight, too. The character that Hemingway plays is a grown-up version of Jo March, the most spirited of the four sisters in Little Women. And significantly, she's the most compelling character in this story, too. Apart from her, though, I can give Little Men only a mixed review. None of the boys was that memorable, and so I can't quite recommend Little Men.
I can't come anywhere close to recommending it. I thought it was a big bore and kind of a do-gooder kind of thing that's going to bore its intended audience. In Little Women, you felt all those women were going to grow up into independent and interesting people, and in this film, you think the kids are going to grow up into real uninteresting people, although Ben Cook is a good actor, and I want to see him in other movies. But, gee, this movie is just so soppy and limp and
it doesn't know
do-goody. I mean, it just made me cringe.
It doesn't know what young men want to do with their lives.
No, it
and
doesn't.
Little Women did.
Okay, when we come back, Artemisia, the story of the first woman to become a professional artist. Our next movie, which is as lush as it is informative, tells the story of Artemisia Gentileschi, who grew up in 17th century Italy when serious painting was not considered a suitable occupation for a woman. But Artemisia had a natural gift, and she also had a proud and understanding father who allowed her to work in his studio. He was willing to teach her, but he drew the line at a young woman drawing the male anatomy.
Je ne pourrai jamais faire de progrès si on m'empêche de peindre des hommes nus.
Artemisia, c'est le Saint-Père, et non pas ton père, qui a décidé que les femmes ne pouvaient pas étudier l'anatomie masculine.
That's Michel Serrault as the father and Valentina Cervi, very spirited and determined, as the daughter. A famous painter named Tassi comes to their town to share a papal commission, and she attracts his attention immediately.
Ça, c'est le travail de votre père.
Mais non, c'est le mien. Mon visage, fait par moi.
That's Mickey Manashovic as Tassi. The young woman demands to study with him, and her bold self-confidence is attractive to him.
Si vous ne les avez pas montrés à l'académie, je suppose.
Non.
Et à votre père.
The relationship becomes a competition between two strong artistic egos.
Je n'ai jamais dit que je ne le savais pas.
Qui avez-vous pris comme modèle pour vos études de vue?
voulez-vous poser pour moi? Je ne veux pas dire nu.
And eventually they become lovers, which leads to a scandal which threatens both of their careers. Artemisia is a love story and a drama, but it's also fascinating as history, showing how women were literally not considered smart enough or worthy enough to do the real tasks of the world. In a way, this could be on a double feature with Clockwatchers. Valentina Chervi is in almost every scene, and her performance reflects Artemisia's original, untamed personality. Like Dangerous Beauty, which came out a few months ago, this is another smart film about Renaissance women insisting on living their own lives.
And this could also be on a double bill with Little Men, showing what to do with a picture, which is to say, understand what someone wants in life. The passion that Artemisia feels is what is missing in the Little Men stories.
Boy, that's a good comment, because Artemisia is more or less the same age as the older of the Little Men, and they are really so shallow, such dunces, such little wind-up toys compared to this strong, independent, smart, intelligent woman. You're quite right.
No, it's a superb film, and again, I'm always rooting for pictures that embrace art and actually show the creation of it and show what an artist does and value it in film. This film does all of that very well. Coming up next, a new documentary tells one of the great unknown stories in World War II. A review of In Our Own Hands when we come back. Our next film is a fascinating documentary called In Our Own Hands, drawing attention to a group of men that most people don't know, never heard of, and significantly can't even imagine existed. The so-called Jewish Brigade, a volunteer British Army company of Jewish soldiers from all over who first saw battle fighting the Nazis in World War II.
September 20th, 1944. Overriding the objections of the War Office and Colonial Office, Churchill rose in the House of Commons to make an historic speech, at last announcing the formation of His Majesty's Jewish Brigade.
It seems to me indeed appropriate that a special Jewish unit, a special unit of that race which has suffered indescribable torments from the Nazis, should be represented as a distinct formation amongst the forces gathered for their final overthrow.
After the war, they moved to Palestine and fought to establish the State of Israel.
As David Ben-Gurion had anticipated years earlier, the former officers and men of the Jewish Brigade, with their unique military experience fighting a large-scale war, were called upon to help organize, train, and lead Israel's fledgling defense forces against armies of the 5 surrounding Arab nations.
The brigade, of course, stands in stark contrast to the commonly held images of Jews as passive. These soldiers were, at the time, and remain so today, a tremendous source of pride.
We broke a taboo. We proved to the world that we can fight. We proved to ourselves that we can fight. The Jews can fight, and they can win.
In Our Own Hands was directed by Chuck Olin, a filmmaker known personally to me. He's done a very good job. Well-researched and well-told this picture is, with a sense of passion and pride. Look for In Our Own Hands as it makes its way slowly around the country before receiving a national television playdate on PBS.
Well, Gene, it is a fascinating movie, but you left out the whole center hour of the film, which to me is the fascinating thing about it, and that is what they did in Europe after the war illegally. Because they stole trucks, they impersonated officers, they moved people around and gave them false identities in order to steal, basically, Jews out of concentration camps and DP camps after the war and get them to Israel. They falsified papers of ships. In some cases, they actually killed Nazis. This is after the war. And they did this all basically illegally, but while fooling the British Army, which is what makes this so fascinating. This could be a great thriller as well as a documentary. And that's the story that's untold. You just talk about they fought during the war and then they later fought in Israel, but it's the middle part, I think, that the movie is really about.
Those are two good stories. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. We split on the disaster picture, Deep Impact. I liked its rich cast of characters, but Roger thought the movie was too formulaic. 2 thumbs down for Woo with Jada Pinkett Smith in a pointless social comedy. 2 thumbs up for the very clever Clockwatchers, a rare film about work, a clever story of temporary workers. It opens next week. And 2 thumbs down on Louisa May Alcott's Little Men. Neither of us found any of the boys that compelling. But 2 thumbs up, way up for Artemisia, the fascinating true story of a gifted young artist and her difficult battle to express herself. Valentina Chervi stars in a wonderful performance. And finally, 2 thumbs up for the documentary In Our Own Hands about the little-known but important Jewish brigade of soldiers in World War II.
Remember, you can hear our reviews on the web at Siskel-Ebert.com. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including The Horse Whisperer.
I read this article about what you do for people with horse problems.
Well, the truth is, I help horses with people problems.
Starring Robert Redford as the cowboy, Kristen Scott Thomas falls in love with.
You got to figure out what you want.
Do you know what you want?
I do know what I want, and I'm trying real hard not to get lost in this.
And Bullworth, Warren Beatty's political satire that co-stars Halle Berry.
I think it's wise to seek the support of the entertainment industry when you have such low opinion of our product.
My guys are not stupid. They always put the big Jews on my schedule.
That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.